Hi guys, this is a continuation of interracial marriages part 2. We've already established that I'm in an interracial relationship and marriage with my husband who's very white, opposite of me, blonde hair, blue eyed. I obviously am Black or African American. I feel so weird saying that because I don't know anyone in Africa. But anyway, we, knowing that we wanted children, we were we took a lot of time to think out what that would feel like to have two different races and not sort of fit in with each other, like black or white. They're kind of in between. And I'll tell you a funny story. When my kids were younger, they were watching Hairspray, and there's a scene where they're at the sock hop and they have black kids on one side and white kids on the other. And Madison asked me, "Well, Mom, where would we go?" And I said, "Well, duh, in the middle." And that's just kind of how we've handled it. We've never made it taboo by not talking about it or trying to protect them. We have called them every name under the sun that somebody might call them, so that those names aren't unusual or weird to hear, and that way you take some of the stigma, the negativity out of it. And I guess we're not very politically correct in my house. I call my husband Whitey, he calls me Coco, because that's what we are, and that's part of what makes us beautiful and unique. And we don't feel the need to tiptoe around it. They're biracial, they have two choices. That's awesome. Sometimes society does get in the way. When they started school, I never would fill out the race because they would make me choose between white and black, which is a lie. I couldn't do it. So once the administration called me from my daughter's school and said, "I'm so sorry, but you have to pick something." Well, this angered me a little bit just because it's not true and it's like I'm telling a lie. So what we decided to do is 1 year my kids are enrolled as white, the next year they're enrolled as black, and they go back and forth. And we've always taught them, you can choose, you can say you're biracial, it's your choice. You get all these different choices that most people don't get. And I think for the most part, at 13 and 15, they're very comfortable with who they are. We have made them feel beautiful in all of their characteristics that they got from me, the characteristics that they got from their father. We celebrate those. We also talk about our other, like my family is the black side and my husband's family is the white side. Madison likes to say, "I like the food on the white side. I like the food on the black side better." And it's just like that. We don't make it bad to talk about it. And when you really don't see color, it makes it a lot easier. And I say that because when Scott and I were first dating, he went on a week-long skiing trip. And when he got back, I saw him for the first time, and it took me by surprise because I actually forgot that he was white. And so it's like startled me, and I still have that happen sometimes. Like we will be sitting next to each other and our arms will be next to each other, and I'll go look down and go, "Gosh, you are so white," and I'm so not. But again, I'm not looking at that as a part of it. Doesn't make him who he is. It's just like having blonde hair. It's just a part of who he is. His hair was blonde when I met him. Now it's graying a little bit. That doesn't change who he is. And we have to celebrate that in people. And what's really cool is at my daughter's schools now, they are becoming the norm. Most kids are not one thing or the other. They're very mixed, which is really cool to see as a community, to have that positive energy out there, because I think maybe 10 years ago it would have been a little bit harder for them to exist. I'll have to bring them in one day so you can see. I'm a little biased, but I think they're very gorgeous and they're a perfect mix. We took bets in the delivery room what they would look like. And Madison to get an idea of how pale she was, my family called her Snowball. But they were both pretty pale when they were born, but now they're perfect mocha in between color, not white, not black, but you can tell there's something mixed in there. Usually my husband gets, is your wife Hispanic? I get, is your husband white, or are those your kids? Anyway, and that doesn't ever bother me. And I try to teach my kids that it's just a question. And if people want to know, answer their question, and it's not a big deal. So that's kind of how we deal with race in our house. We make it very open. Another thing that we do, which is probably pretty twisted, is we play this game. It's called Guess That Race. So when there's a news, they tease the news, on 5 o'clock news, man robs an 85-year-old lady for 5 cents and a cigarette. We try to guess the race of that person based on what the crime is. And that's a fun game to play. So that just shows you how we're just completely relaxed about race in our house. And I think that's just the only way to go for us. But again, everybody's different, and you have to handle the situation as it comes and as your kids are able to handle it. A lot of it also depends on what neighborhood you live in, predominantly Hispanic or predominantly Black, whatever. Those characteristics are going to have an effect on how you treat it. We came from a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood school. Now we're in a very mixed neighborhood, which I love. Didn't necessarily look for that. It just happened to turn out that way. And actually, when we first bought our house, we were in our backyard and we looked next door and our neighbors are standing outside, and it's a Nigerian woman and a Polish man. And we just kind of looked at each other and laughed and thought, what? Did they put us all in the same block? So it just shows you how common it is now, and how people that don't want to get on board with it, that's cool, but everybody else is evolving and learning and more accepting, and that's beautiful in any way. So I hope you have a great week, and God bless.